When I was in Kampala, I remember that the past president of the Rotary Club there had shared, I'm paraphrasing right now, but 3 principles. The principle of context, the principle of service, and the principle of joy. And I've seen those 3 strands interwoven every place that we've been. When I think about it, I also think about seeing the themes of movement, play, and song throughout as well. I have been overwhelmed in a very positive way by how much the emphasis on integration has taken place everywhere we've went. Whether it's been looking at Dr. Milton Wabiona's work in his research on music education in Uganda, to good friend Lala Concias and the work that she does in singing and movement in her work with Okelo Kelo Sam, combined with the modern songwriting that she's doing. Thinking about Ikuka and the way that he brings together the context of learning, messages in what he shares, along with laughter in so much of what he was playing and singing, and also an emphasis on service, caring for people, helping people, and seeing how that's now been passed on to the next generation, and how he's influenced so many musicians. So yeah, I suppose it would really be that combination of service, context, and joy. Connection. Every person whom we've seen does what they do because of their connections with others. It's about relationship. And when I even look at some of the artwork behind us and thinking about united in mind, heart, and purpose, united, connected. When I think about this other poster behind me that talks about in movement for social change, there is such an emphasis on the social, there is such an emphasis on the connection. Music's not taking place in isolation. I think that's so deeply important and something that I want to always continue to reflect on, is that musicking is about human connection. I really love Rolex. There is so much. It's funny because one thing that I heard a number of times is that music is life. And it's fascinating to think about how that idea of music is life, if we think about the ideas of joy and service and context, those ideas also come through within the foods that we've eaten, within the conversations that we've had with one another, within the places we visited. Being on the Nile River and seeing and learning the history of the Nile over the years, seeing these incredible habitats that people have worked to preserve for the next generation. That, again, combination of service and joy and context has come through from what we have eaten to what we have seen to how our conversations have been with those with whom we've interacted, and just developing those friendships through all of those practices together. Well, first it felt hot because I had some red peppers that were fantastic. Having a meal, it wasn't like, okay, this is the time where we play music, and this is the time where we stop and we eat food and we don't talk about it. All of it is interconnected, and the idea of welcome came through in every moment. And I know I keep bringing up the word joy, but that is the word that continues to come up for me, is pure joy. The idea of being able to continue asking questions. I remember that as we were sitting around the campfire, that I said something along the lines of, okay, I think I'm going to have about 100 questions, but I realize we probably don't have time for that. The immediate response was, ask as many questions as you would like. There's the curiosity, the continued discussions back and forth, the reciprocity I found so meaningful, and so, it's strange to say this, but the word art, it was so artistic. There was artistry in the interactions, even during a meal. And I'm forever grateful for that. Well, again, I think, like I mentioned a little earlier, music is life.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that really encapsulates it. I also think that there is a continued movement for social change that we can learn from wherever we come from. I see it in the research, again, that Dr. Milton Wabiona is doing right now, in considering whose voices have remained unheard in the conversations about the role of music. I think about it in some of the individuals with whom we've interacted with. For example, I think of the Joffrey's an Ndungu player, and a Dungu player, and he talks about almost a both-and approach, like Randall Alsop would mention. You know, we were talking about that a little earlier, and Dr. Wabiona has also mentioned in his dissertation. He wants to embrace the idea of learning experiences within his own contexts, and then also learning new contexts for musicking. I think that's powerful because it's the continuous movement forward, the continuous seeking to expand how we think about learning. And to me, that actually goes again to another thing on this artwork we have here that says, every journey begins with a single step. People are moving here. We have artists who are moving, and hearing their voices that is so critical to humanity. Mm-hmm. And I look forward to hearing their voices more, and those voices being centered both in Uganda, and around the world in how we think about music. Sitting around the campfire the other night, I shared with Okelo Sam that perhaps one of the most meaningful things to me has been the value of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned so much from Okelo Sam in just this short period of time. And in even just the 1 hour, having a conversation for an hour with Dr. Milton Wabiona, with interacting with Sarah, with improvising with Lala. Relationships and building those relationships is so critical, I believe, especially when we're sharing music outside of our own experiences. I was born in the United States. I grew up in the United States. This is my first time outside of North America. I'm a white male of English and Irish ancestry, coming to Uganda and being welcomed by these brilliant, brilliant musicians and wonderful, wonderful human beings who provide a depth of context that I couldn't imagine even finding necessarily in a book. Books help. And the research helps, and we need more of that. We need to highlight the voices as well, these voices as well, in informing our research. And at the end of the day, that mentorship, to me, is central to Pamoja, that continued connection. And I will forever be grateful for the relationships that have formed from being here.